Rakatay Hawa, Bahashem Hawashai, Bahashem Rakha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Slander, False Witness, and the Law. Are you guilty? And pretty much this is an address to what the Elder Kazakh, had spoken to us, which I actually first got the report from Elder Yashawamba, which he conveyed. He called Elder Yashawamba. Elder Yashawamba let me know about it. I told the apostles and the bishop about it. And then Elder Apostle Tahar had me to call the Elder Kazakh, and we got him on the phone. And we saluted each other. The first thing I said to him, "Hey, brother, you've been summoned." And then after that, we let him have it. Nah, Pastor I said, "Nah, brother, you ain't in trouble." And pretty much, he also gave us the rundown on what took place. And it's the same story with these guys. You have this guy, Deacon Asaph, talking about, that I'm not gonna say anything about these men anymore, because it's not true. And I forget exactly how he put it, but here it is. You got your men saying these things. These are very, wicked things that are being done, and it's damaging to our reputation, and we don't do those things. And by you saying that it's damaging our reputation, you have women on these different tweets and Twitters and whatever accounts they are making statements to hide your 9-year-old daughters from GMS men. This is straight up wicked, man. But then you call yourself being so-called men of Christ, which that's exactly who you are. You're men of Christ. You're not men of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Now, just to set the record straight, we believe that some of the IUIC members are sincere men. As Elder Pastor has put it before, some of those men are very good teachers, and it's nothing against them, but, you got to grow a backbone, man. You got to speak up, because what's happening right now is not right, and by you guys still doing that, we could bring a serious, action lawsuit against all of you that's saying that, and you could be in some real serious hot water for, those slanderous statements that you're making against us without any proof. And we can, you can be in some deep shit, but we're going to take the route of what the scriptures say. Did any of you having a matter against each other go to law before the unjust? We're not going to go before the unjust. Even the Apostle Paul said, that when he went to Caesar, it wasn't, to accuse his brothers of anything, but that was the only out that they left him. So we're going to leave it at that. Now, the word slander here means the action or crime of making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. And this is exactly what you're doing. What you're doing is pretty much what Vocab is doing and all them other individuals are doing by isolating or bringing out certain isolated events of individuals that may have heard a video or may, listen to videos or may, accept the view of Israel and then go out and commit something that we never taught them to do, and then trying to blame the whole nation for the actions of one individual. And this is exactly what you guys out there are doing. You are IUIC members. So it behooves you to better make if you claim to be men of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, which a lot of you are not, but the ones of you that are sincere, it behooves you to make a video and apologize, because we've apologized when we've been wrong about certain things. So it behooves you to make a video to apologize and to put it, because it's too late already, because people are already putting it out there, and all Jake has to hear is from one person's mouth, and then they'll go to another person and then go to another person, and before you know it, everyone that hears about GMS, oh, you talking about those rapists, huh? So it would behoove you to make a video and apologize and take that back. But it's too late because it's already out there, and this is what happens, when you are not, what's the word I'm looking for? This is what happens when you're not bold enough in the understanding of the scriptures to defend the gospel. So you have to resort to slanders, just like the so-called white man does, the Edomites do. So what I want to do is I want to read a couple of precepts, whatever the Spirit brings out. I don't really have anything, prepared, just a couple of precepts that came to mind, and I'll go through it and see where the Spirit, leads it. But this is Deuteronomy 19:15, and this is in the law. You have Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Those are the first 5 books of the law. All right, so this is one of the books of the law. So if you guys are telling Jake to follow the laws, keep the laws, the statutes, and commandments, you better follow what the laws, the statutes, and commandments say. Otherwise, you'll be deemed as a hypocrite. And what is a hypocrite? An actor. Hypocrite. A person who indulges in hypocrisy. I hate when it does that. I fucking hate that. That shit just fucking burns me. When you look up a word and it tells you that it's the same word, Hypocrisy, the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform. Pretense. And that's exactly what hypocrisy is. And this is exactly what you guys are full of. Hypocrisy. This is why Yahushua said, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. This is exactly what you guys do. You guys are puffed up. And guess what? They that are greatly exalted, and I'm just merely paraphrasing, shall be those that are exalted shall be abased. And that IUIC thing is a puff cloud right now. These men are puffed up to the highest heights, so much that they putting. It's almost like they're worshiping these individuals as if they was gods. But hey, be it as it may. All right, so hypocrisy is the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform. Pretense, and that's what you guys are doing. And then right, like the brother said, they have hate for their own brother, right? And you accuse us of having hate. We don't hate. We don't hate. We don't hate the IUIC. We hate what you're doing. We hate certain things that you stand for. We hate the fact that you put Christ in the name of your group, which you should be putting Yahushai, but we don't hate you personally on a personal level, But anyways, Deuteronomy 19:15, one witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin. And they claim to know the law, right? In any sin that he sinneth at the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 shall the matter be established. And we also, Elder Pastor called for this scripture at the camp yesterday, which we had to close a little early because, the rain was, it was like a monsoon out there, This is Ecclesiasticus 11:7. Blame not before thou hast examined the truth. Understand first and then rebuke. Answer not before thou hast heard the cause, neither interrupt men in the midst of their talk. So you guys don't know what the fuck is going on. All you did was saw an interaction between 2 devils, Polite and Don King Sarnetta, come down to the camp at 34th and ask a question about the rape thing, and automatically you just use that as a catapult, and as a get out of jail pass, to slander us and call us rapists. So the scriptures say understand first and then rebuke. That is a true, the true mark of a wise man is to understand the matter first before they open their mouth. All right. So it goes on to say in Deuteronomy 19:16, if a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that is wrong, which is wronged, right? A false witness, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord. Right. And back then you had the judges, and they would be officiating the business of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. The law was open. one individual will come up and say what he, what ails him, or what happened to him. This is why sometimes when a Jake will see another Jake, in the scriptures, they will say, "What aileth thee?" And then you would bring out, okay, well, you did so and so and such and such. All right, well, let's bring it to the judges. It says, "Before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days," and we're still in those days to this day, because we still have, the law still in effect. We're still, have men that have the capability, or should have the capability, to judge based off of what the law says. It says, "And the judges shall make diligent inquisition, and behold," right? And what is a diligent inquisition? Meaning they're going to ask questions. They're going to ask the plaintiff the question. They're going to ask the defendant the question. The plaintiff being the one bringing the accusation, the defendant being the one that's being accused. And they're going to question them. Okay, so you say that he did so and so and such. Did you do so and so and such? And he'll, say what he got to say. The other guy say what he has to say. They'll present their argument. They'll present their evidence, so on and so forth. And after that, the judges would take that information based off of what the scriptures say and render a righteous judgment. Right? It says, "And behold, if the witness be a false witness," or if this individual bore false witness against his neighbor and has testified falsely against his brother, which is what you guys are doing, and you know this, "then shall you do unto him," because you know that Jake is emotional. All Jake got to hear is the word grapist, and that's it's over with. Anything after that is over with. You guys are very devious and very devilish and very demonic for doing that. I'm talking about IUIC. All right? Israel United in Christ. That's who I'm talking about. You guys are a bunch of devils. Now, those of you that are sincere, you might want to rethink getting the hell away from them individuals, because they're heading for a fall. It says, "Then shall you do unto him." So if you have a false witness, which you guys are false witnesses, saying that against us, calling us those things without any evidence, without any proof, have people out there in the world that don't know anything about Israel calling us the same shit that you're accusing us of, talking about watch your 9-year-old daughters from GMS men, right? What does that bring? That would bring a penalty of being locked up in jail for however long these devils decide. Right? So it says, "Then shall you do unto him as he had thought to have done to his brother." So you would have to pay for the same crime that you accused the man of, that you falsely accused him of. So if the penalty was to be put to death, you would have to be put to death in the stead of your brother, because you bore false witness against him. If the penalty was a fine, you would have to pay that fine. If the penalty was jail time or whatever the case may be, you would have to do and suffer whatever it is that you accuse him falsely of committing. This is the law. Do you guys follow the law, or is that just a mantra of yours? Keep the laws, the statutes, the commandments. But when it comes to keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, you don't. "So shalt thou put evil away from among you." Yeah, because that's evil. To bear false witness against someone. To say that they are, committing a heinous act out there in the streets, according to this society, and without any proof. Because you're too, you're not adept enough to go into the Bible and to see that there is a section within the law that deals with the grape situation, and it gives you different accounts of it. Why is it that if a woman is married and the man does that and she screams and nobody helps her, why is it that the penalty for that situation is the man gets put to death? Then if you have a situation where there's a man that grapes a woman that is married, but she doesn't scream, they both get put to death. That's another penalty. The first one, the man gets put to death. The woman doesn't get put to death because she screamed for help. Nobody helped. Second one, they both get put to death because the man The man committed adultery and the woman didn't scream, which means she was with it. Then the third one, if a man finds a woman that is not betrothed, she is not engaged to any man, why doesn't he get put to death if he commits the same act that those other two committed? Why? Why is it that he just pays a fine? Because the woman was not married. So there were different scenarios within that law and those few verses there. If this happens, this is what you do. If that happens, this is what you do. If this happens and the woman is not married, then the man that committed the offense will go to the father, pay the father 50 shekels of silver, and that woman will be his woman forever. He could not put her away all the days of his life. He's stuck with that woman. Why are there different penalties for the same crime? And you guys are a bunch of demons. Because even when Bishop Nathaniel, when he read that law years ago, he danced right over the force part. He didn't even touch that. Oh, they go vehemently into the 25th verse, the 26th verse, the 27th verse. Yeah, they should be put to death if he commits rape. Death. But then when it gets down to the 28th, 29th verse, they dance around those verses. There's an evil, a serious, heinous evil being committed out there. And a serious slander campaign against Great Millstone. For shit that we don't do. And you guys got to pay for that. You're going to have to answer to the ultimate judge, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But that's all right, because we know that them same demonic spirits of them wicked Pharisees and them wicked Sadducees and the wicked lawyers and them wicked individuals back then are back now. So it's no surprise that these things are happening. They brought many false witnesses against Yahweh Shai. And what happened? None of them agreed. But eventually they got him to be crucified. Why? Because it was all part of the prophecy. Scriptures speak about suffering wrongfully, and we have for a long time. And we pretty much just rolled with the punches. But now it's time to address this shit, because it's getting ridiculous. Here it is, you guys pride yourself in being defenders of the gospel. So why do you have to, resort to low blows? Things that you know are not true. What is it? You scared? Because you guys don't know the law. I'm going to tell you straight up. You don't know the law. All you know how to do is yap. Keep the law, the statutes, the commandments. But when you go into the law, you don't know the first and the last thing about the law. All you know is basic things. You might know the 10 commandments. But how many of you guys from the IUIC actually, during the time of the Passover, set the lamb aside on the 10th day, a male lamb, each household, keep it up to the 14th day at evening, make sure it's unspotted, unblemished, never had sex, and then, sacrifice it that particular day? How many of you do that? Because I'm almost positive that damn near none of you have a farm. And like Elder Pastor always says, you asking brothers where their fringes, where your phylacteries at, for that matter. That's in the law. The frontlets in thy eyes, that's the phylacteries. How come you guys don't have your phylacteries on? Because what you guys is all about outward show. It's not about truth. It's about the outward show. Just like them wicked Pharisees and Sadducees back then. It goes on to say, and then and those which remain. So when you bear false witness against someone and you want a particular thing to be done to them, and it's found out that you bore false witness, whatever you intended to do unto them should be done unto you. And so it says, and those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. Yeah, because that's evil. That's straight up hate. You claim us about hate. No, see, your definition of hate is because you're being rebuked and corrected. That's hate. Your hatred that you're showing towards us is based off of something wicked, bearing false witness, showing your true intentions of how you really feel about us. But that's all right. You keep doing what you're doing. I suggest you apologize, but at the end of the day, ain't nothing probably not gonna happen to you. You know, you're gonna go along, whatever. But at the end, you're gonna have to answer to the judge, the top judge, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It says, and thine eye shall not pity. Right. The Lord ain't gonna pity. But life shall go for life. So if the false witness that you bear against someone, has them to be put to death, and it's found out that that you were wrong, that you lied, then guess what? You would be put to death. If the penalty was eye for eye, guess what? Your eye would be plucked out instead of their eye because you bore false witness. If it was tooth for tooth, guess what? Your tooth will get rocked out of your head because this is the false witness you bore against this man because you hated him and you wanted some harm to come to him. So you had to make up and concoct some bullshit story, and drop him in the meat grinder. Inside joke. Hand for hand. So if it was foot for foot. So if it was anything, whatever the penalty was that you tried to impose on that man by bearing false witness against him, and it was found out that you were lying, you would suffer one of these things. And the Lord said that when you do this, Jake would suppose to get nervous and put away that evil from among them so that it wouldn't happen anymore. But the reason why you guys are doing it and saying it is because there's no repercussions from it. And if we would get down and dirty and actually sue your monkey ass for that, and put you in a serious litigation situation, with all kind of lawyers up your ass and extracting all kind of money out of your pockets, you would shut the fuck up and you wouldn't say a goddamn thing. But we ain't gonna do that. Because we're not gonna lower or come down to your standards. This is some underhanded bullshit you guys would do. But you always accuse us of hate. And I will say this too, man. Fuck you other groups out there. Fuck all of you. Because you motherfuckers see what's going on. Ain't none of you saying shit. Not one of you motherfuckers is saying anything. You just going along. You just, just going about your business. You see what's going on. You ain't saying shit. When something is wrong out there, one group against another, we speak up about it. We talk about it. We go to the scriptures and tell you that it's wrong. Who's wrong and who's right. But you fucking guys, you just quiet like little church mouses. And the Lord's going to deal with you too. Because you would love for Esau to roll on us. You would love, like you, Elder Banyamyan. When Polite said he was going to get the Crips and the Bloods on us, you was salivating and hoping that they would get us. Wicked motherfucker. All of you, the Most High is going to get rid of every last one of you false prophets out there. Every last one of you. Let's go to Romans 2:1. Therefore thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest, for wherein thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself, for thou that judgest doest the same things. Basically, you guys are a bunch of fucking hypocrites. And then you want to be, you want to talking about keep the laws, keep the statutes, keep the commandments, which the law, statutes, and commandments, nothing wrong with keeping that to the best of our ability, because this is what makes us holy. But you guys don't keep it. Remember, if you break one law, you're guilty of breaking the whole law. Verse 17, behold, thou art called a Jew, and resteth in the law, and makest thy boast of the Most High, and knowest his will, and approved. And you guys don't even know the will of the Most High. You know? And approved the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law. Right, because you're supposed to know the law in order to tell somebody to keep the law. You don't know the will of the Most High, and you don't know the law. Because I guarantee if you were to take certain members of IUIC and question them about certain laws, they would be lost. And are confident that thou thyself art a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. You got to know the law to tell people to keep the law. It ain't just a mantra of keep the laws, the statutes, the commandments. But you don't know what's contained within the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. Thou therefore which teaches another, teachest not thou thyself? Right. So if you're going to teach somebody, don't you teach yourself? Thou that preachest a man should not steal, dost thou steal? Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, dost thou commit adultery? Yeah, and you guys are guilty of this, because when you tell a man that he has to separate from his wife if she's an unbeliever, and you're causing that woman to commit adultery. So you're guilty of that. Because nowhere in the scriptures does it say if your wife doesn't believe not to cut her off. The Apostle Paul addressed that. If you have an unbelieving wife, but the man be pleased to dwell with her, let him not put her away. And vice versa. If you have a sister that's a believer, but she has an unbelieving husband and she be pleased to dwell with him, let her not put him away. But you guys promote that adultery, directly or indirectly. Because once that separation happens, guess what? That woman gonna get that itch. She wanna get it scratched. And guess what? When she does go get it scratched, that boom, that's automatically adultery. And guess what? You done cause that woman to be put to death. You guys are guilty of a lot of heinous crimes in the law. The same law, statutes, and commandments you're trying to push on people to keep. You know? It says, thou that abhorrest idols, dost thou commit sacrilege? Thou that makest thy boast of the law, through breaking the law, dishonorest thou the Most High? Yeah, because you're the main ones that's making that boast out there. Keep the laws, the statutes, the commandments. But you ain't keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments. Just because you wear your fringes, that don't mean shit. You know? Matter of fact, I know brothers been putting this up on the comment section. Matthew 23:1. Then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Right, they sit in that seat of authority. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. Right, because there's nothing wrong with what they're saying. Keep the law, statutes, and the commandments. So do it. No, to the best of your ability, we say, because we know that the keeping the law perfect is not going to save us. Because that's not the righteousness that the Most High Yahweh set down here for us to do. The thing that he set down here for us to do was to believe in his son Yahweh Shai. And that would deliver us. But in the meanwhile, we keep the laws to the best of our ability to show our devotion and our faith to the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. It says, but do not after their works. Right. Do what they say, but don't do what they do. For they say and do not. You know, so there's plenty of laws that you guys are breaking. This happens to be one of them. Being a false witness. And guess what? You're supposed to suffer these things that you're trying to wish upon us. It says, for they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. Right. They're going to put a heavy burden upon you. And even, who was that? Was it the Apostle Peter or the Apostle James that said, how are you going to try to put, this yoke upon their necks, which our fathers couldn't keep? It says, but all their works they do for to be what? Seen of men. That's why whenever there's a big event, they're going to be there. Flashing their garments, because it's not about the truth of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Hell, it's not even about Yahushai. It's about Christ. Who the fuck is Christ? His name is Yahushai. And it does make you upset that you will have that much disregard for the name of the Lord, but when it comes to your names, you can't have a coon name. You got to get you one of those fake Hebrew names with the ending of Ben Israel. But when it comes to the Heavenly Father and His Son, you could leave the coon names on them. It's unfucking believable, man. And you people out in the IUIC, you don't see this? That doesn't register in your mind that, wait a minute, we call the Lord and his Son's name by English names or Latin names or whatever the case may be, but we have to call ourselves by Israelite names. But why can't we call the Lord by His Israelite name or by His Hebrew name? Wake the fuck up, Preston. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garment. That's why they march and they have the same uniform. It's a uniform. Jake likes that liturgy. So they all march with the same colored garments. Because Jake likes that. Oh man, if all I want is a uniform and a hat. As long as you give Jake a uniform to wear, they're happy. A uniform and a hat. Inside joke. And love the uppermost rooms at feasts and the chief seats in the synagogues and greetings in the markets. And to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi, yeah. Like you had Lunkenberry, Deacon Abiel, which we affectionately called Lunkenberry. Talking about some... See, that's what I'm talking about. When Elder Barak, called Bishop Nathaniel, he called him Nate because they know each other. They have a history, before you even were in the picture. And you're going to try to raise up on Elder Barak because he said that. All because he didn't address your leader by his proper title, but then when it comes to the Most High and Yahushua, you could just call him whatever you want to call him. You can call him Yo Plate Yogurt. And that demon, he didn't even get chastised for that. You know what Nate did? He jumped up on there and we know what he meant by that. No, we don't. And what that was like a broad broom that you use just to sweep that shit away. That was wicked what he said. You could call the Most High whatever you want. You could call him Yo Plate Yogurt. He lucky the Most High and strike his tall, linky ass down. That moment. Like they did to that Egyptian kid. That cursed the Most High. Took his monkey ass out. It says, but be ye not called. Let's jump down to right here, 11. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. Right. You're heading for a great fall. You're heading for a great abasement, IUIC. And your leader, I hate to say it, but your leader has a super dark countenance. And I read it on the comment board, and I looked at him. I said, yep, he got a super dark countenance where he used to have a glow about him back in the days. Now he got a super dark countenance. And it's not just because he's dark skinned. He just got a dark aura about him, a dark orb. You know? It says, well, this fits you too. Verse 13, but woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. What is the kingdom of heaven? This knowledge. When it comes to the, especially when it comes to the MOTB, which is the C-hip, it comes to the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You know? You shut those things up from those that are coming in. Those are keys to the kingdom of heaven. Because when you don't tell or warn Jake about the MOTB being the C-hip, you're leaving them open to take that. And they don't know any better. So when you tell them, no, it's not that, it's sin, it's, Christianity or embargo, whatever the fuck you teach it is, you're leading them down in the wrong path, down the path of to destruction. It says, for you neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in. Right. Because you're blocking that path. There are keys to this thing. Yahushua gave Peter the keys. The Apostle Peter, the keys to the kingdom of heaven. There are keys to this. And one of the main keys is the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. This is why King Solomon, in his prayer, in 1 Kings, the 8th chapter, and I believe that's 2 Chronicles, the 6th chapter, which is the same prayer, he said, if your people sin and they be put to flight before the enemy, or such and such happens and this happens, and they turn to this place and call upon your name, then hear thou in heaven and forgive them. Because those names are part of the keys. So if you're taking those names away, then you're taking away a major portion of the kingdom of heaven from Jake. And one of the most dangerous places to be in these times is amongst this new technology that they got coming out, where they're making everything digital. And everything is going to be predicated upon the MOTB, which is the C-hip, to be able to function in society. And by you not telling them, you're taking away another part of the key. And guess what? The ones that take it, they're going to die, but their blood is going to be upon your hands. It says for you, it says, let's jump down to, yeah, here we go. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you compass sea and land to make one proselyte, meaning one convert, and when he is made, you make him twofold more the child of hell than yourself. That's why your man called the elder Kazak out there, he called him a grapist. He called GMS grapist. Because you making these guys twofold the child of hell than yourself. And the funny thing about it is, at the end of this whole thing, the Lord might put the right mind back in you, and you escape the judgment that's coming, and all those clowns that are following you be destroyed. Remember, the Lord said, if a prophet be deceived, I, the Lord, have deceived him. So you could do all this wickedness, and the Most High using you, and then at the last minute yank you out of the fire, and all the rest of them clowns will fall off the cliff, following behind you, the Pied Piper. Hey, the Most High, he ain't called the Most High for nothing. He is the Most High, the King of terrors. Knowing the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. Woe unto you, you blind guides, which say, whosoever shall swear. Okay, let's just jump down to this is good one, 23. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin. Yeah, because you have all of the resources and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, right? Because you're talking about keeping the law, and you pay your tithes, you pay this, you pay that, Well, you guys don't pay tithes, but you know what I mean. You'll keep the Passover, you do this, you do that, the high holy days, and whatever it is that you got to do. But the weightier matters of the law, the things that mean the most, you omit, which is judgment, mercy, and faith. And what did Yahweh say? He didn't say, well, look, don't worry about paying the tithes and all of that. He said, these ought ye to have done. What? Keep the judgment, mercy, and faith, and not to leave the other undone. So don't be a hypocrite. That's what Yahweh was saying. You do the things of the law, but the things that mean the most, that are the weightiest, that are the most favorable in the eyes of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you omit those. Yeah, do the other ones, but also do these: judgment, mercy, and faith. You blind guides will strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. Yeah, that's why you can't get the MOTB thing. Which is it's not even that hard if you apply yourself, pray to the Lord, apply yourself, and look into those words. But you discourage your men not to look into the original language that the scriptures were written in. I don't understand that. That boggles me. I don't understand why you would discourage your men from looking into the original languages that the Bible was written in to get a better understanding of what is meant by it. I don't get it. Right. It says, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter. Right. Where are your fringes at, brother? But within they are full of extortion and excess. It says, thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter. Right. Which is what? Your spirit. The inner man. That the outside of them may be clean also. Yeah, because you present yourself, with these multi-million-dollar looking garments, but then inside you're full of extortion, excess, and a thought keeps coming into mind of a certain individual that I want to speak and say something about. But you know what? I'm not even going to go there with it. I'm just going to leave that alone. Now you guys have shit that comes out that's wicked. But you accuse us of things that you don't have any proof of. And we don't use those isolated incidents to blame your whole congregation. And here it is, you have no proof, but you use certain things to try to condemn all of us. But the Lord said, matter of fact, I may come back to that. Let's go to Isaiah 54. I'm about to get ready to close it up, unless the Spirit has me go longer. Isaiah 54 and 17, it says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. You see? Because we're going to be justified by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. This is why it says, let the Lord be, matter of fact, let me get it. I can't think of the actual quote. What is that? 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 4. In whom the God of this world hath blinded. No, that's not it. No, it was actually Romans 3. All right, Romans 3 and 3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? The Most High forbid. Yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. Why? Because if you stand within what's written, you're going to be good. But if you tell people to keep what's written, but you're not keeping it, then you're a hypocrite. You're going to be condemned. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So going back to Matthew 23 and 27, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward. Yeah, when you see those tombstones and the way that they're carved and etched, and I mean, it looks like a beauty. And then you see the sepulchres, the way that they're built, and they look fancy, right? But are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. Because you never cleaned the inside of the cup, the inside of the platter. You just make the outside clean. And you're going to get a lot of people like that because Jake likes that. But guess what? Wide is a gate that leadeth to destruction, and many there be that go in thereat. But straight is a gate that leadeth unto everlasting life, and very few be that go in thereat. So everything in life that happens, the Lord has a sifting process that's going on, where He's sifting out the undesirables, and He's bringing the ones that He desires a part of His elect, through that, and constantly, cleansing them, constantly purifying them, constantly refining them. It says, even so ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men. The law, the statutes, the commandments, burgers and fringes. It says, but within you are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. Yeah, you're full of hypocrisy and iniquity, man. That's you guys. Let's go to the word hypocrisy. Hypocritas, of hypocrisies. An answer, the acting of a stage player. Dissimulation. Hypocrisy, right? So the acting of a stage player. So you're nothing more than so-called spiritual thespians. To use a fancy word, which the word thespian just means an actor. Fancy way of saying actor. That's all. All right. So, we could go on and on, but I'm going to leave it there. Matter of fact, I just want to bring this one more precept out in Deuteronomy 22. Just want to go to the main point in a different translation. Let's see. Married, right? NIV. If a man happens to meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and rapes her, and they are discovered. But does it say, oh, he shall be put to death because he graped her? No. 50 shekels of silver to the woman's father, and he could not put that woman away for life, so he was stuck with that woman. The ESV, if a man meets a virgin who is not betrothed, meaning she's not engaged, and seizeth her, means take her by force, and lies with her, and they are found. CSB, if a man encounters a young woman, a virgin who is not engaged, takes hold of her and grapes her, and they are discovered. And like Elder Pastor always says, how is it that a woman can see this? And women are super emotional, but a woman can see this and you guys can't. Here it is, you got a demon, polite, that can see this and you guys can't. Because you're too emotional and you don't encourage a man to go into the original language that these scriptures were written in. Nope, it's got to be all in the English. In the English, you got to prove it in the English. If you can't prove it in the English, it's not the gospel. We didn't speak English back then. We don't speak Spanish. That's just something that was put upon us by our conquerors. So what is the actual language? This phrase is funny. If a man finds a girl who is a virgin, who is not betrothed, and he seizes her and has sexual relations with her, and they are discovered. So you get the idea. Right here, NET. Suppose a man comes across a virgin who is not engaged and overpowers and grapes her, and they are discovered. You see? And what happens? Then the man that lay with her shall give unto her damsel's father 50 shekels of silver. That's the penalty, not death. In the other two cases, it was death. And she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. I nod. He may not put her away all his days. And when you look up that word, humbled, which goes to the Hebrew word ainah. Let's see if it says it in here. Afflicted, to humble, mishandle, afflict. Doesn't really go into it. Force. ravish. What does the word ravish mean? Ravish. Seize and carry off someone by force. All right? Let me see something. Now, let's see. Okay, it ain't really bringing out too much. But you know what's funny is when you look, yeah, force is not, listen, just talk, spitting game at the honey, and breaking the defenses down, and all of a sudden now you're in the draws. Nah, that ain't what it's talking about. Draws. But in the actual book form, it has the word rape in it, R-A-P-E. But that's pretty much it. These guys are a bunch of hypocrites. Slander, false witness, and the law. Are you guilty? And for IUIC, yes, they are. They're very guilty. And I suggest that they change their tune, which is too late already, because people are already out on the media that don't even know anything about Israel, talking about watch your 9-year-old daughter around GMS men. Which that's evil. That's wicked in itself. But you guys, Deacon Asaph, you said I'm not gonna say anything bad about these guys anymore. I forget how you put it, but you didn't have, I don't have any proof. You don't have any proof. You guys call us bums, you call us rapists and all of that, and you have no proof of that. So what is that? That's a slander. That's false witness, which goes against the law. But anyway, with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say shalom.